Welcome, Jana. It's a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you, Parul. It's really nice to be here.
Well, today we are going to talk about an amazing topic that is relevant to everybody who does any kind of sales, and that is how to turn your one time clients into raving fans for your brand. Who doesn't want to learn that? I definitely want to learn that from you. And we are going to get into that topic in some time. But why don't we start with understanding who Jana is? So, Jana, tell us, what is your story?
Right. My story that is really relevant to what I do now really started at around the age of 5, where I really realized, looking back, I realized that's the time when I really started getting into my explorer spirit. I really like exploring, and that later on turns into traveling. And I became sort of a slow traveler. What I mean by that is I lived in a couple of different countries, which really brought also me having to adjust to different cultures and expectations that come with it. And I started being really good at putting myself in other people's shoes. Now, because I was so passionate about travel, at some point I turned it into a vocation. So I have a master's degree in tourism management. And so that was me bringing those two things together. Um, but then I was trying to figure out how can I combine this passion of mine of slowly traveling and therefore living in different countries and not having to start from scratch each time I changed the country. And so I started my online business. That was my motivation behind it, that freedom of working from wherever. And so I started bringing all my experiences from the corporate world and from the tourism management into my online business, where I was helping other business owners to have better experiences running their own businesses. So I was helping them with project management, team coordination, organization of the back end of running of a business, that sort of things. Basically, looking into the details whilst keeping in mind the bigger vision they were having or they have around their businesses. And at some point, my clients started asking me to look into how to improve the experiences that they provide for their clients. So they were asking me to look into at occasions like they were running a free challenge or they were launching a service or a program, they were asking me to look into all of what they prepared and whether it's understandable from the outsider's point of view, whether there is anything missing, looking at all the details of how to deliver it in a most smooth way for them, but also in a way that will really provide a nice experience for the people who are participating. And so that was kind of like me coming the full circle, because I was suddenly able to use my experiences from tourism, and I'm able to help to bring my clients on a journey with them. And so basically really helping them to become that guide that is welcoming their clients into my client's world and making it really easy to feel welcome, to feel comfortable, to interact with other people, to have a really good experience, not just consuming the content, but really the wholesome experience that comes with it. Because it's the experience that people remember. It's not the content, it's the experience that they share with other people, they remember. So whether it's a good one or a bad one, they will still share it.
Yeah.
So that's really my story.
Beautiful. And in the process, when you were helping your clients with an outsider's view, you were able to wear that explorer's hat and explore things for them.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm able to use my gift of putting myself into other people's shoes. I'm able to be that explorer that also helps my clients to see things from a fresh perspective so they can have an adventure with it as well. So yeah, it's really coming the full circle, and I'm bringing it all together, all the previous experiences and my passions all in one.
So beautiful, beautiful. I love it when we are able to connect with those deep passions and vocations and turn them into a business and live that life. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It is, as we were talking previously, it is quite often a journey. It doesn't come like we need all those experiences that come along the way to be
Yeah,
able to figure that out. But it's really nice when it really comes the full circle.
yeah, yeah. When it all falls in place
Exactly.
and the clarity emerges. Woo!
Yeah, and it's like, why did not I think about this before?
Yeah, yeah. But it's like putting different pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Until you see the whole picture. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for sharing your story with us, Jana. So let's talk a little bit about how does this explorer help people with help business owners with turning their one-time clients into raving fans. What is that all about?
There are a couple of elements that go in there, but basically, you need to have that explorer's mind or approach in order to be able to get out of your own head um, and see it with fresh eyes. Because especially when we talk about services that were living in your head for a long time before you actually brought them to the world or introduced them to your audience, um, it's very difficult to take that step back and see it from an outsider's perspective. So when you put yourself into your client's shoes and when you have that explorer's mindset, that's when you're able to see any gaps that there might be there that you need to fill in order to provide really extraordinary experiences.
I love the expression you used, explorer mindset. So many times people talk about the success mindset and the wealth mindset, the money mindset. Nobody says the explorer mindset.
Okay, I'm going to patent it.
Yes, do that. No, I think it's beautiful because it says, it explains what the essence of what you're saying so beautifully, putting on that explorer's hat and being open to possibilities.
Yeah, that's what it is about. And I'm not saying it's easy. It's not, it's certainly not easy for me when it comes to my own business. So I do understand it's difficult for other people as well. Not for everyone, but probably for a majority of people. It is something that is not part of their day-to-day running of the business, and they might need that help.
Mhm. Mm. And what's the easiest way in which we can go and get that help?
It's really anything that will help you to see things from your customer's perspective or from a fresh perspective. So you could be asking your clients directly.
Mm-hmm.
That could be really part of your strategy, and in some shape or form, it actually should be part of delivering your program as well, because you should be asking for feedback in order to improve what you're providing. You should be asking for testimonials, because that's again is a form of feedback, but it's also something you can use to then promote your program to the outside world. So that's one of the ways, really speaking to your clients and asking for that feedback. But it's a job, you know, so it really depends on a client whether they will want to provide a detailed feedback, whether they might just, depending on how much they know you, they might just decide to provide a positive feedback, or, not to do anything that could potentially be touchy for you. So it might not always be a constructive feedback. So in order to get that constructive feedback, you might work with a third person, whether that's your business bestie that can help you look at what you've created and give you then a feedback that doesn't have any emotion in it. It's not charged emotionally. So that's what you really want, because that's the constructive feedback that you can act on. Or you can work with someone like me, partner up with someone who will help you see that from a fresh perspective.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And I completely appreciate that different people are going to take different approaches. I personally really like the approach that you shared, going to clients for feedback. And I recently did that. And there were some people who said, sorry, we can't do it because something's going on, too busy. But there were a couple of people who actually gave me so much information that I could turn those forms into case studies, and not snippets of case study, proper full-blown case studies. And there were things about me I discovered that I didn't know. For example, why did they choose to sign up with me and not someone else?
Okay.
That was one of the questions. And I didn't know why, because when somebody is considering signing up with a coach, well, a lot of times they may go and speak to one person, but most people will speak to more than one person. So it was really interesting information, and there was a lot of new information as well. That was really fascinating.
I hope you are using it now. You
I'm
acted on
using
that
it.
feedback.
I'm using it in my daily content. I'm using it to speak to more of those people. And sometimes things are so simple that we just take them and we just assume that that's how everyone does things, but they could be special to us. And here I want to highlight one of the things that I learned about myself, just to illustrate the power of what you are saying. One of the things that came up time and again in my forms, in those survey forms, was that I listen. I really listen to people. And that was so fascinating, because we would assume that's what every service provider should do, or that's what we think we are doing as coaches. But it's about how our audiences, how our customers or prospective customers experience us. And if they had told me, no, you just don't listen, that would have been really good feedback for me to work on something.
Yeah, as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. So that's a wonderful technique. I've implemented it myself. Yeah, it really works.
Yeah, it does. It does. So there are many ways you can look at things, but yeah, this is definitely one of them.
What is your personal preference, Jana? Do you prefer to team up with a bestie, or do you prefer to team up with a stranger? I mean, not exactly a stranger, but somebody who's not your bestie, not a friend.
It depends. It depends what I need a feedback on. Whether it's a big piece or just, a blog post, or like a tiny offer that I'm putting out there, and how much time and effort it will require from the other person I'm asking the feedback from. So yeah, I wouldn't be expecting a client to be giving me like a continuous feedback on something, but I will definitely ask a client for a testimonial. And if they want to provide an extra feedback, that's welcome as well. But I wouldn't be asking them, to review what I am considering putting out there. That would be a job for a business bestie or a community I am a part of. So it really depends on what it is I need a feedback on.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Yes, we wouldn't ask our clients or of even friends for that matter to give us detailed feedback.
And with asking a friend for a feedback, that's a tricky one as well, because again, that's emotionally charged.
Yeah.
So, you know, like when you really need a neutral feedback, that's the time when you should be considering working with an outside person. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's my personal preference as well. I would go to a friend when I want them to cheer for me or be in my corner, or if I'm having a rant, listen to that rant. But if, say, I'm pivoting in my business, I would go to a coach.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Nice summary.
Yes, but that's my personal preference. So as you say, there are different ways to do different things. So how can we apply all of these approaches? I understand that it's important to have an outsider's perspective. What is the next thing we can do to make sure that people who have bought from us once or have engaged with us continue to be our raving fans or turn into our raving fans?
Yeah, that's a good question. So a tip that I usually give is try to put yourself into your customer's shoes in a way you would be doing when you are preparing yourself to travel to a foreign country. So we all have those experiences of traveling to an unknown country where we don't know what are the local rules, or we might not know the language, we might not know how to travel around that country, like, because all of these things vary from place to place. We might not know enough to be able to pack for our trip. So if you just put yourself into that mindset of preparing yourself for a travel to a foreign land, that's what you can really apply to looking at your group program as well. Because all those people who are to join your group program, they're going to enter your world. And in a way, it's a foreign land for them.
Oh, I love that analogy. Absolutely love it.
And so, you know, applying to that analogy, they might need you to guide them around what they need to pack. In other words, what they need to maybe study or read, or how can they prepare for the transformation that you are going to give them throughout the program. There might be that preparation phase they need to go through. They might need to know what to expect. So you need to set those expectations. Of course, then you need to deliver on those expectations. And then throughout the program, you need to, again, be aware, okay, they are in a new country. They are a new kid in the neighborhood as well. Each one of them is, they don't know each other. So they might need your help to, you know, to boost the engagement, to introduce them to each other, to show the similarities between them so they feel welcome and comfortable and safe in your space. So it's really kind of that journey you're bringing them on, preparing them, guiding them through the experience, and then also preparing them for what's next to come. So you might have a program for them, a service for them that you might want them to sign up for afterwards, because that will give them further transformation. But you know, you need to start preparing them for that. You need to make them aware those are the possibilities and options open for them, so they can start considering it. So it's again kind of like preparing them not just for their travel back home, but also maybe to have another adventure with you.
Yeah. And we've got to be there as guides to hold their hand and help them navigate, because as you say, our world is new to them.
Yeah, you know so much more about your own country
Yeah.
than them. And they might know some things, but definitely not as much as you. That's where
Yes.
they are signing up with you. So
Yes.
it's
Yes.
logical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So be the guide while putting on your own explorer's hat. Don't assume that they know everything, because they don't. That's the whole reason why they have come into our world, and help them have a good time in a way that makes sense to them, and prepare them for the next step.
Yeah, and also there would be another one that I'd like to add. It's create those opportunities for them to create memorable experiences, and also, you know, in the way of taking pictures on your holiday, they also want to have something that they want to talk about or display, show to others. So even thinking about it that way, that's also preparing them for really realizing the value you are giving them. It's the things that they are gonna then share in the testimonial. It's the thing that then you can share with the outside world as a social proof. So it's all kind of like a snowball thing. So if they have that nice experience, if they're aware of having that, if they appreciate it, if you guide them through it, then they will want to share that with the outside world, with their besties, with their friends, and they will become your brand ambassadors in a way, or fans of your brand. They will send new clients your way as well. So it's really a way of escaping that vicious circle of always marketing to cold audience, bringing new people to the door, rather than nurturing your existing clients.
Yeah. Yes. So focusing on your current people so that you can come out of that vicious cycle of having to market and win trust of new people.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's also economically or financially, it makes much more sense, because it's much more costly to lose a customer than to actually gain a new customer.
Yeah.
Because you've already spent all those money getting the new person through the door, they became your client, and then if they leave, you lost all of that money. Like all the energy that you invested into this relationship already is kind of lost. So it does not really make sense as a long-term strategy.
Yeah. But how would you say we apply this concept to services like coaching? For example, somebody may be coached for 3 months or 6 months, and then they have learned to fish for the rest of their life, and off they go. How would you keep them into buying from you over and over again?
It really depends whether you have another service that would be applicable to them. But I think in this particular case, it's more about how can you really make them into your brand ambassador. So how good that experience needs to be, that experience that they've had with you needs to be in order for them to refer you to other people who need your help. So that would be the way of turning them from one-time client into a lifetime customer. Even though they are not directly buying from you themselves, they are bringing you new clients. And they know, and the clients that they refer to you, they're the perfect fit, because they know like what it is like to work with you. They know what type of people will benefit from working with you. So it's really like them doing the job for you.
Yeah, so we are talking about immediate sales as well as we are talking about sales in other forms.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's either turning your one-time client into a long-term customer or into fan and brand ambassador for you. Yeah. Both things work.
Would you say that we can take these concepts and apply them to fans who are not clients yet and turn them into clients? Does that work too?
So let me ask you a question. Why would they be your fan in the first place? What makes them your fan?
There could be something that they are getting out of being in your world. For example, let's take the example of a Facebook group. It's a community. So a lot of people stay in groups for community. They may not buy from a particular person or from the admin, but they enjoy the community or the space. That is a really good example of when somebody can be a fan but not a client.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That would work as well. Would you like to ask that question again so that I can?
So my question was, can we take the principles that you have been sharing with us and apply them to people who trust us, who are fans, but are not our clients yet?
Yeah, so definitely, because what you're doing in that group or in your community is also guiding people through that experience they have with you and other members of your community. So you are building that relationship with them, you with them, and then them with all the other people in your community. So you're already, even though it's not a paid relationship, it's still a relationship building and trust building. So definitely.
Yeah. So we are still delivering all of those things. We are still building that trust, increasing trust points in our relationship, still nurturing all of our community, delivering value. And what we are saying is monetary exchange is just one of the ways in which this exchange happens.
Yes, definitely.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. And the monetary exchange may not have happened now, but it can happen sometime in the future.
It might or it might not. But we shouldn't really be that hung up on that because you're getting other value from your community as well. You're learning from them. You're getting new ideas of what to offer because you're learning from them in terms of what they need. So it's of value to you already, even though there might not be a monetary exchange.
Yeah. And there are lots of skills that we can improve by nurturing a community.
Yes. Would you like to share what you've learned from nurturing yours?
I would say leadership skills, because building a community, attracting people into a community with a clear vision and nurturing that community is a leadership skill. I would say facilitation, by running programs like this, by running sessions like this. That's been a huge part of conversations. I would say ability to collaborate is another big takeaway for me, because I've collaborated with coaches for a long time. I've been doing this session for 19 months now. No, for 21 months now. And I've collaborated with a new coach every week. And so these are some amazing skills that I have managed to develop. All thanks to this community, because there's this community that listens and appreciates what I do.
Yeah, definitely. I don't have a community myself, but I do help my clients to manage communities, and it's an interesting way of also for those people, those members of your community, to get to know you and to actually see whether they might want to work with you, or as you said, they might even just keep you top of their mind, and then connect you to the right people or provide opportunities that way. So there is that two-way exchange going on all the time.
Yeah. And I would say, even if somebody doesn't if they haven't built a community themselves, they can still show up in other communities, just how you are here today, and contribute to those other communities and get to know people.
Yeah, and it's an interesting one because we got to know each other through a different community
Yes.
quite a few years
Oh,
back,
maybe
and
5 years ago.
yeah, so it's been a while, and
Been a while.
now there is this opportunity that came from it for me to be speaking to your audience and sharing my, I don't know, mastery,
That
sharing
sounds
what
right.
I
Mastery.
sharing what I do. So it's that's the power of communities. It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. And there is a very important message that you have shared with us without putting it into so many words, and that is, a lot of times these takeaways are not immediate. The last time I spoke to you was probably 5 years ago, and here we are having this conversation and learning from you. So so this came after 5 years, but then it's not a sprint we are running anyway. It's a marathon, isn't it?
Yes, we are in this for the long run, and it's funny because I like even talking to you today, I feel like I'm talking to an old friend because we connected that long time ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is true. That is true. And isn't that one of the important things to remember when we want to convert one-time clients into raving fans? That it's a long game we are playing.
Yeah, it definitely is a long game we are playing, even though some online marketers might be telling you something different with their focus on 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure launches. And they don't really talk about that relationship building and then, keeping those new clients with you longer. But it is, if you're running a heart-centered business, then you are in it for the long-term game. Yeah.
Yeah. And my guess is, even if you are hitting those numbers, the kind of numbers you're talking about, you would still need to play the long game, because that success that we see, whatever success means to us or to anyone, that doesn't happen overnight. We've got to learn and implement things, and that's how success is earned and built.
Yes, definitely. And that comes back to, how our own businesses have been shaping as well into their current form. It is through those experiences, it is through those trials and errors. But you wouldn't have learned all of that if, if you were just focusing on the revenue figure that you can gain within the first 2 years of running a business. And if you don't hit that number, then you're out.
Mm,
That learning wouldn't be there.
mm, yeah. And let's face it, there are lots of businesses that make no money in the first 2 years.
Yeah, it's a hard one.
It's a hard one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's all about staying in the game, because the moment we quit, well, that's when it stops.
Yeah. So it really depends, like, why are you playing the game?
Mm,
Yeah.
mm, yeah. And that is also something to consider when we make an offer, or we make a launch, we do a launch and say it doesn't go according to plan. And in those moments, I find it is so helpful to remember that it's not a one-time thing. It's a long game.
Yeah, and if you keep that exploration mindset, then you can look at that not as a failure or something that did not work, but something that you definitely learned something from.
Mhm.
There will be lessons that you can apply to your next launch, or things that showed you that some parts of your offer are not resonating with your ideal client, things like that. So it's not a win or lose mindset that we need to have. It's more of that exploration mindset, and yeah, it's a game. Like, if you can keep that in your mind that it's a game you're playing, then you can have more fun with it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because if you aren't having fun with it, what's the point of doing it anyway?
Maybe you're in it for the struggle. I don't know.
No, not anymore. If you were speaking to the person I was 10 years ago, I would have laid a lot of emphasis on doing things the hard way and earning your money's worth kind of stories. Not anymore.
Yeah, yeah, we learn.
We learn. That's a good thing. So,
Yeah.
Jana, would you say there are certain things we must not do that's going to, because if we do them, they're going to prevent our one-time clients turn into raving fans?
The main thing I would highlight is really kind of staying in your own head. Please don't do that. And please don't just focus all your effort on putting together the right content
Mm-hmm.
and just looking at it from your perspective. So you really need to I'm going to say it again, just to bring them on a journey.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to always consider your client and what they are going through, and whether working with you is what they actually need. And that way of working with you or a different way of working with you. So again, you can play with it, you can explore it more. So it's not either or, but it's, as long as you keep an open mind and you're open to the feedback, then you can really provide experiences that they will remember and cherish.
Yeah. Yes. So the biggest thing is not to get in our own heads and stay there.
Yeah, yeah. Get out of your head.
Because the moment we do that, we tend to put on the blinkers, don't we?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good analogy. Yeah, definitely. You don't see anything left and right. You're just so focused on my way is the right way. And maybe I'm not speaking to the right client, but what if you are speaking to the right client, but your current way is not the right way for them?
Yeah, yeah. I've definitely experienced it. I had two sales conversations within a couple of days, and it made in one of the conversations, everything I said, and they had come with very similar needs, both the people. Everything I said made 100% sense to one person, and it didn't make much sense to the other person. And I was still talking about the same thing because we were looking at similar goals there. But they were in different places in their own careers and in their own lives, and their experiences were different. So I was the right fit for one person then, and I would be the right fit for another person maybe later, but not now.
Yeah, yeah, or yeah, you always need to consider like the starting point they are at. And maybe if you had another program or a service, you could actually serve both of those
Yeah.
clients. Yeah, meeting
Yes.
them where they are. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, this has been so good, Jana. So tell us, how can people experience some of this goodness with you? Do you have anything coming up? You're working on some offers, aren't you?
Yeah, so it's the first year or first time ever I'm actually participating in the Black Friday madness. So I've put together some offers, and basically I'm running a. I wanted it to be big because it's the first time I'm participating. So, so I'm running a 50% off on my Power Hour, which is really for anyone who has a group program with
Yeah.
some life element in it, and especially if you've run that group program one, two, or three times, and you're now looking at how to improve that experience of delivering the program for yourself. and also how to improve the experiences your group program participants have with you. So this is a 1 hour Zoom call with me where we go through what you have in place, what your challenges are, where are the gaps in your customer journey, and how to fill in those gaps.
Yeah.
So the current offer, the usual price is 197 euro, and the current price is 97. So I'm taking 100 euro off of that.
That's a steal.
Yes, it is. So jump on it because I'm making it available for the first 10 people only.
Mm-hmm.
And the deal is valid until the midnight on Cyber Monday.
Mm-hmm.
But if 10 people book before that, it might be taken down before that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also experimenting with bringing in a version of the Power Hour, which wouldn't be a one-on-one Zoom call with me, but it would be a 1 hour over a messenger app. So you can still ask all of those questions. We still go through all of your challenges. There is an intake form so I can learn about your program beforehand, so we are not wasting your time whilst we have that Power Hour. But it's more accessible for people who think that 1 hour on a Zoom call is too much. Let's do a messenger, and that's available at an introductory price of 45 euro. So those two ways are really like the fastest ways of getting rid of, smoothing up your processes, getting rid of any gaps, have an action plan of things to implement to make everything easier and better. I'm just gonna put the links. Where should I put the links? Shall I put them in the chat so you can share them in the Facebook group?
Or when we finish, what you can do is just underneath this video, you can drop all the links.
Okay, perfect.
Then we'll have everything in one place.
Yeah, perfect. So I'll share that with you here when we finish. Okay.
Or in the group directly because you're a member.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'll do that. Sorry, yeah.
Oh, that's all right.
So that makes sense. So I'll do that. And if you're not ready to, work with someone like me, but you have a group program that you're looking into improving, then I have a free guide that is really, it's called 4 Foolproof Ways to turn your new members into raving fans. And it's basically looking at the time when, from the time your client signed up with you, but the program hasn't started yet. So what you can do in that time period in order to start building those relationships and how to nourish them and how to set those expectations and all of that comes before they actually start working with you. So it's not like they buy from you, there is a big echo, and then 2 weeks later the program starts and they don't even know what to expect. So it's really bridging that gap. So I'll put that link in there as well. And that's basically it. I would, if you have any questions for me or anything like that, you can also start a conversation in the Facebook group under the video or get in touch with me in other ways.
And where can people get in touch with you?
So through my website, I'm going to put the link there as well. I have a chat box there. So you can use that, or there is my email address there, so you can send me an email. Those would be the preferred ways. Please don't call me.
Fair enough. And you are on Facebook, and are you also active on LinkedIn?
Yes, I'm very active on LinkedIn actually. So I shall put that a link to my LinkedIn profile there as well, so people can connect with me there. That's a good point. I just always I never think of putting my LinkedIn profile link onto Facebook. It kind of is like, those are two different platforms.
Yeah, different worlds.
Yeah. But I'll do that now.
Okay. Yeah, we can definitely do that within the group.
Perfect.
Great, great. I see you have something for everyone. For people who like being on Zoom calls, they can jump on a call with you. People who don't like that, video is not their thing, they can talk to you on Messenger. So really great to have options.
Yeah, I'm experimenting with that just to see. Many people do experience at the moment the Zoom fatigue. So having a different option might appeal to those people.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Before we let you go, Jana, what is one big message you want to share with our people today?
It's all about the experience you provide and the experience people have with you. So do make sure they have a good one with you.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's something to remember. People will forget everything except the experience we have them go through.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Jana, thank you so much for coming and sharing your wisdom with us. It's been delightful talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.